Did you guys know that Rena's middle name is Megaman? Her full name is Rena Megaman Ryugu, though technically it would be Rina Megaman Ryugu, but she doesn't go by Rina anymore. She removed the I from her first name. So it's just Rena Megaman Ryugu. Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. An empty can rattles the most. And you're off to save the world. Megaman, you insist that the weight of the world should be on your shoulders, my friend Megaman. Rena is the kind of girl who doesn't show her pain to others. She always looks happy and cheerful, but she might be acting that way on purpose. I definitely relate to that. Granted, I talk your guys' ears off here on YouTube, but for the most part, I'm not the kind of person who really talks about my feelings, in real life, or, shows that I'm in pain or hurting. And I tend to always have a smile and be happy and cheerful. Rena told me that happy days will one day come to an end. Because I can definitely see parts of my personality in Satoshi and in Rena. And I can see parts of their personalities in me. So, I'd say you make a DBZ fusion of Satoshi and Rena. You get me. You get Lunar. She told me she knew that firsthand. What could she have been through? I had no idea. That's probably why she tried to spend as much time as peacefully and cheerfully as she could. I must have hurt her feelings when I said I was bored of having happy days. When I thought about it, I felt bad for living off my parents, who are both healthy and happy. For that matter, Satoko and Rika-chan lost their parents too. Mion lives with their grandmother away from her parents because she needs to learn to be the head of the Sonozaki family in the future. When I realized all that, I felt bad about my situation. You don't have to feel bad about living with your parents. Mion seemed to have read my mind. She said it with a cool expression on her face. A family is the most common community for kids like us to live in. I still feel like in Chapter 3 the best solution would have been to just talk to our parents and adopt Satoko. Same thing with Rena. Rena should have just talked to Shion and Kasai the instant that stuff came up, rather than dwelling on it and, of course, eventually getting pushed into a situation that, well, honestly I still feel Rena is blameless for. But I feel like such a thing is going to have very severe negative consequences for her own emotional and psychological well-being. Granted, not as bad as just letting Ritsuko and Teppei fuck over her family. That would be even worse than... that would have been even worse psychological damage than killing them. But I'm just saying, the third option of just talking to Shion and Kasai at the coffee shop the instant it became an issue would have been the best choice. But let's say if that wasn't an option, and the options were to just let Teppei and Ritsuko, Rina, win and conquer the Ryugu family, or kill them, the better option, hands down in every situation, is to kill them. It's kind of like saying, imagine somebody breaks into your house and you have to shoot them with a gun and kill them. I mean, your options at that point are shoot them and kill them, or don't shoot them and they kill you. And possibly anyone else in your house too. Obviously, hands down in every circumstance, the correct decision is to kill the intruder and to save your own life. At no point should you feel bad or feel guilty about defending yourself. However, if it was possible to, say, see the car full of the burglars, say robbing another house before yours, and you call the cops, and the cops get to those people before they ever come to your house, because like say they were going through and robbing every house in your entire city. I know, unrealistic. I'm just saying, there was a third option in which you didn't have to kill them, but there was also, or if there was like a third situation where they just like got in a car accident before they robbed your house. Well, in that circumstance, you don't have to worry about getting robbed or hurt, nor do you have to actually shoot and murder them. But at that point, it's not murder because, well, they're breaking into your house. I mean, heck, if Rena's dad had a gun, the moment Tepe bashed in their window and just came in, he would have had every right just to, blow Tepe's brains out. And that would have been completely legal. Now, of course, such laws like that perhaps vary depending on your country or even the state or territory of whatever country you're in. But I'll say this. While I do feel guns or any kind of weapon is not something to be used casually, it's not something to use to intimidate or provoke violence, and should never be used carelessly or recklessly, and should always be stored in safe locations away from children, or from anyone who would be, not, like you don't want to have an elderly person of Alzheimer's having a gun. Like, they keep forgetting what a gun is, of course, anyone having a gun should be properly trained. But, while you shouldn't be, brandishing the gun or threatening people or using it to mouth off with people and be a jackass, it should predominantly be a method of self-defense or defense of others. There's nothing wrong with being able to defend yourself. There's nothing wrong with having strength. In fact, peace through strength is a very good and moral choice, both on a personal and even a national level. But your ultimate goal, whether it be on a national level, should be just avoid war in the first place. Same way, in a personal level, it should be to avoid a fight or a gun shootout to begin with. That should be the preferred situation. Think of it like the Dragon Balls. The Dragon Balls are able to grant any wish, but imagine a world where you have this magical set of Dragon Balls and you have no need to use that power. That's your best case scenario. Same thing with a gun. The best thing you can ever hope for with a gun is that you never need to use it. Now, of course, if a situation, say if you have a gun and a situation arises where you have to use that gun to save your life or to save someone else, well, there is nothing wrong in using that gun for the intended purpose, and there's nothing wrong with using that gun to kill whoever is trying to hurt you or hurt others. However, the ideal scenario that you should hope for is that you should have a gun and be prepared to use it, but you should hope with every fiber of your being that there's never a circumstance to need it, that you'd never have to fire a single round. That should be the preferred outcome. What you should hope for more than anything should be that you never have a need to use it. That being said, if there ever is a situation where you do have a need to use it, it's better to have it than not have it. And certainly if there's a situation where you're in danger, it is better for you to use it. Your life matters more than whoever's trying to take your life. If someone breaks into your house, obviously they're being a threat to your life. So, yes, it's lamentable that you would have to shoot somebody. That's terrible. But but it's not that you're a terrible person. If someone breaks in your house and you blow their brains out of their skull, that does not make you a bad person. And you are still blameless in this situation. And when it's all said and done, you did the correct, right, and moral choice. However, it would only be normal and to be expected that you would have emotional misgivings about such a thing. Though I would say under that circumstance, normally, like it's not a crime to shoot the person breaking into your house, but it is a crime to hide the body. So again, this depends, like what's a crime depends on where you live. Now, of course, depending on what country, whatever listener, I'd have to have people listening to this video. But in the hypothetical scenario where someone's actually listening to me, it really depends on what are the laws like where you live. I know there are some countries that are much more strict on guns, and some are less. Like, my view is this. I think it's good for people to be able to defend themselves. But if someone has a gun, they should be properly trained with it. They should keep it in a safe place. They should never have it around children. They should be properly trained with it. And they should not, go around like brandishing it or threatening people with it or being drunk with it or using it to like try to intimidate people or like, I'm going to fucking tell someone off because I have a gun and they can't. Like, no. I think in general, people should be very polite and courteous people. I think we have an epidemic of rude people in this world. But even if someone is being rude and trying to provoke you, even if you have a gun on you, you should still keep your gun concealed. Like, say if you're at a bar or whatever and you have a gun. Some bars allow it, some bars don't. Depends on if you have a concealed carry. Again, you should know the laws, one, of your state, of your country, of your territory, of your province, as well as certain cities might have their own extra laws, especially when it comes to very big cities, particularly any sort of city that has a huge population. They tend to have additional rules as well. Also, certain places, including some bars, will have additional rules about that sort of stuff. So you should certainly know the laws and the policies that are involved. But even in the scenario where you're in a country or state where you're perfectly legally allowed to carry your gun around, and you're in a place, like say you're at a bar where you're allowed to have your gun, like you're allowed to have a gun on, you're allowed to conceal carry. Simply put is this, especially if you're concealed carry, no one should know you have a gun. If you're at a bar and someone just starts coming up to you and talking shit to you and like basically provoking you and saying horrible shit to you and insulting you and saying very, very rude things, you should simply still stay meek and respectful and do everything you can to de-escalate the situation without engaging the person or trying to fight them. At no point should you be like, oh, I have a gun, so I'll tell this person also if things get bad. Like, no. Even though you have a gun on you, it should always be the last resort. And your goal should always be to de-escalate. The hope should be to not have to use it. Yes, you have the gun as an emergency precaution so that if it comes down to it and the person starts assaulting you and trying to hurt you, you can use the gun. But even then, even in a situation where you have to like wield the gun, you shouldn't just pull it out and squeeze the trigger unless like they're actively trying to kill you on the spot. Like if they have a knife or they have a gun themselves, then yes, you pull the gun out and you shoot. But if they're just, trying to throw a punch at you or something, or throwing shit at you and you feel scared for your life in terms of them assaulting you, well, at that point you can basically unsheath your weapon, but don't fire. The point at that point is you're not trying to kill them. You're not even wanting to shoot to injure. You're just, and of course, again, with a gun, you don't want to just shoot carelessly either, because you could accidentally shoot someone else by accident. Heck, there's so many people that accidentally shoot themselves. And especially if you're at a bar, I mean, well, if you're drunk, you should also be mindful of, your own judgment as well as your skill with it. But then again, I would also say that if you have a gun on you, that I would not recommend drinking any alcohol at all. I don't think if you're going to be holding a loaded gun, I don't think you should have any intoxicating substances inside of you. I think it would impair your judgment, and I think it would impair your mechanical motor skills. So I think it would endanger your life and endanger other people, and I think it would be very irresponsible. That being said, in general, I would granted, I'm not a person who drinks alcohol, but the main thing I would give advice to people that do drink alcohol is that, one, don't do anything dangerous while under the influence of anything. Like, don't wield a gun, don't, climb a ladder, don't drive a car. Don't try to, get a knife and try to, prepare, chili, like you're chopping onions and stuff. Like, you might accidentally cut your finger or something. Trying to think of what else you'd... I imagine, don't stand on a table and try to dance. You could, fall off and break your leg or something. Main point being is this. If you're in a situation where you have a gun, and it's concealed carry and someone's talking shit, one, you should still be as polite as possible to everyone. Even if you have a gun on you, you should still be extremely polite and courteous to everybody. And in that situation, if someone chooses to go out of their way to antagonize and provoke you, you should either de-escalate the situation, ignore them if possible, or just leave. It's not worth getting into an argument with them. Why would, at that point, just leave? Even if they're insulting you or saying horrible, even if they say the most unspeakable things to you. It's not an excuse to attack them. It's not an excuse to yell at them and tell them off. And it's not an excuse to pull out a gun and brandish it. At that point, you should just be the bigger man and just walk out and remove yourself from the violent situation. Your goal should always be to avoid confrontation and to avoid violence, and to be as polite and as courteous to people as possible. And even if someone goes out of their way to antagonize you, you should do your best to stay polite and to stay non-aggressive. And at no point should you, unless you are being physically attacked, even no matter what they say to you, as long as it's just words, not only should you not shoot them, but you shouldn't even pull your gun out. They shouldn't even know you have a gun. And at no point should you brandish it or threaten people with it or start telling people off. You should just calmly just accept the verbal abuse they hurl toward you and then just leave. There's no reason for any sort of violence to occur. The only situation where you pull out your gun in a threatening manner and basically aiming it at them with your finger close to the trigger but not on the trigger, because again, it is very easy to accidentally discharge a gun. So again, guns are not toys. They are extraordinarily dangerous. They are tools. A gun doesn't kill people. A person kills a person using a gun. And here's the thing. Removing guns from society would not make society less dangerous. In fact, it would make it more dangerous. Because at least a gun is a good equalizer. Because at the end of the day, it allows somebody who is a very weak individual, who's not a great fighter, to be able to stand up to people that are professionals. In the same way, take Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is incredibly physically fit. And he's very well trained. But if, he got into, a fight with, fucking Brock Lesnar from the WWE, I'm pretty sure Brock Lesnar would win. That's no insult to Joe. Joe is much stronger than me and much more trained. But at the same time, yes, he has a better chance because of his increased physical fitness, and he has a better chance due to his training. But the probabilities are against him if he were in a fight against, Brock Lesnar or somebody. But at the same time, you could take someone that's much weaker than I am and give them a gun or even a hatchet or something and have them fight someone stronger than Brock Lesnar, and the weaker person could still win. The whole point of a gun is it's a good equalizer. It allows, like, if you're like a crippled old man in a wheelchair, you could have like 5 Brock Lesnars armed with axes and baseball bats and bats covered in barbed wire and stuff. And the crippled old man in a wheelchair could still win that fight, provided the help of a gun. So it allows people that are much weaker. Though at the same time, I would say in general, most people, if they're out and about, when it comes to self-defense stuff, they should just have mace or pepper spray or a taser. Simply because in most situations, those will be enough. And also, again, in most situations, you should be able to avoid, any sort of major confrontation. That being said, the bigger issue is this. I feel like a lot of people might accidentally use a gun in a situation where they feel threatened or nervous, in which there is no actual threat. Because there's times where there's people out walking in a city or something, they'll feel threatened by people near them, and they'll have their hand on their pepper spray and stuff, which again is a wise decision. However, what if the person you're feeling threatened by hasn't said anything to you? Because there's, again, I would say use common sense and discretion, but of course, in society, especially due to things like TikTok, and again, I'm not necessarily saying TikTok makes people stupid. I'm saying there were always stupid people. It just TikTok lets you know. Granted, I don't have TikTok, but I see videos of it on YouTube and Twitter. And again, I'm not necessarily saying social media and the internet makes brain rot or people stupid. More so, I'm saying there's always been people like that. And the internet just lets us know they exist. After all, a major volcano could go over in Japan right now. All of Japan could become encased in lava. If it wasn't for the internet and radio and stuff, we would never know here in America. No one in all of America would know until somebody came by boat a few years in the future and said, oh right, that place called Japan got covered by lava, or that their Godzilla came up from the surface. Whereas nowadays, if there actually was a massive volcano explode or Godzilla or a city getting hydrogen bombed, we will have multiple satellite live, if New Jersey suddenly got hit by a hydrogen bomb, there would be 50 different recordings of it all over every major news station. Heck, I'd be watching a fucking reaction video of Asmongold reacting to it. I mean, that's just the world we live in. But without said technology, let's be clear, all of Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, heck, even all of South America could literally burst into flames. No one in America would ever know. Same regard, all of America could catch fire, and no one in Spain or Japan would ever know. Without our modern communication. I forget what we were talking about. I guess the main thing I'm just saying is that there's a lot of stupid people out there that would overly... there's people that will be walking and then someone walks close to them. Again, you should be mindful of your surroundings and definitely if something's suspicious. But the main point is that I feel many people out there would, air quotes, jump the gun. Yes, I do realize it's a terrible pun. But the main point is that there would be situations I feel that a person would overreact. And they would wind up shooting somebody that was either not a threat or could have possibly been dispatched with a much less lethal option than a gun. But in general, I would certainly not fault anyone for having the best option for their self-defense to ensure their safety. I think it's the rule of 22. I can't remember. But I think the idea is that, say if you're a person with a gun, and you see somebody with a knife, and the person with a knife is running at you. I think the rule is that even if they're within 22 feet of you, What is that in meters? I don't know what that is in meters. Okay, a meter is like slightly longer than a yard, right? A yard's 3 feet. So probably like 6.5 meters. Okay, so 20 feet, 22 feet, or 7 meters. We'll go 7 meters. I think the general rule is this, is that if you have a gun and there's somebody over there and they have a knife and that person with the knife has the intention to try to stab you, basically, if they're within 7 meters of you, you need to shoot to kill. Because the main point is this, is that even if you just shoot and wing them or something, if they're running at you, if they're within 7 meters of you, they'll be able to close that distance very quickly and stab you to death. Now, of course, the main point of using a gun in that situation would be to, like, you don't brandish it to threaten people just to win some sort of argument or to be an asshole or because you're being malicious. But again, it should be, even if someone's being rude to you or violent toward you, like throwing shit, if you can leave the situation and disengage, do so. If you can avoid violence, do so. If you can leave and they never even knew you had a gun at all, that's the best course of action. No one gets hurt. However, in the situation where you cannot leave and they are forcing you, like they are blocking your exit, and there's no other way for you to leave, and in that situation, you still try to talk the person down. You try to avoid violence. You try to de-escalate the situation. You try to use diplomacy. However, at the point where your life becomes physically threatened and they are physically assaulting you, well, at that point, if you feel the need to in order to defend your life, you pull out the gun in the hopes that it will get them to back down, at which point they will just let you leave. At that point, you're not shooting them because they threatened you or because they were going to hurt you. If you can simply just pull out the gun, and again, you would keep your finger next to the trigger, not on the trigger, because otherwise you might act, especially in a very worked up and emotional state. You're like, heck, I don't know about you guys, but my hands shake a lot when I get angry or nervous. So whether it's fear or anger I feel, my entire arms could be shaking and trembling, whether with fear or rage. So it doesn't matter which direction I'm in, it's still causes quite a bit of a shaking. And again, if you're in a situation where you're holding a gun, having your finger on the trigger, you would most assuredly accidentally pull that trigger. So you should have your finger next to it, but so that there's no chance of accidentally pulling the trigger. You should always treat it with the utmost caution. A gun would be something that you should be extraordinarily responsible with. And again, in that situation where you're being physically attacked and there's no other way to leave, you can use the gun in the hopes that it makes the people back off, at which point their goal is to be able to leave and not hurt anybody. However, in the situation that they were also trying to still hurt you anyway and refused to let you leave, well, in that case, it's your discretion how you use the gun. At that point, you're fine to shoot it. But in general, well, like, I've never killed anyone, and I would feel extraordinarily bad if I ever did. But if I was in a situation where I had to do so in order to save my life, I would do so. But I would do everything in my power to avoid that situation from coming into existence in the first place. Simply put, there are circumstances in which it would be, again, like the movie The Odyssey with Odysseus, there are times where rage, anger, and violence are the appropriate response. However, it should be an extremely rare situation that anyone should have to face such a circumstance. And even the people that have the probability of having that circumstance, you should be able to take measures to avoid it. That being said, I understand there are many circumstances in which no matter what a person does, those situations will occur, and in some situations, there was nothing that could have been done to prevent or avoid the situation. But at the end of the day, the overall main goal I'm trying to say is that your goal should be to always avoid violence if possible, and you certainly would not want to hurt or kill anybody. However, if your life or someone else's life is in danger, or you're being threatened or something, or someone's about to do something horrible to you, well, that's their fault for doing very bad things, or being, a piece of shit. You did everything you could to de-escalate and avoid them being a vulgar, violent. So at the end of the day, yes, you shouldn't be talking shit to people, or provoking people, or attacking people yourself. But if you're in a situation where someone is basically acting like a feral animal, and they're trying to hurt you, there is no reason why you shouldn't defend yourself, even if it means sacrificing their life. Because at the end of the day, like I said, even from my perspective, yes, I'm a very depressed person, but I would never kill myself, and I've never attempted to kill myself. I mean, granted, I've been really depressed about stuff, and I think about stuff, but I've never done anything, and never would. And in the same regard, yes, I tend to be very depressed and sad a lot of times, but if someone were trying to kill me, I would definitely kill them if it was what was necessary to save my own life. However, I would definitely feel super bad about it. Obviously, if we're in a situation, like say someone breaks into my house, and I have to kill the intruder. 1, I will feel bad. 2, I mean, even if they're already dead, I might, say if they're dead. 1, I'll feel bad about that, but also, I will probably break open their skull. Which I know it may sound excessive to people, but again, I don't want them to become a zombie. So, 1, they're already dead, so I don't think they care if I bash their skull open. I just don't want them to become a zombie afterward. 2, yes, lamentable that person's dead, but, they made the decision to break and entering into a person's home, and that's a very bad decision. I could understand, if you're out in the fucking, you're some farmer and someone, knocks on your door because it's storming and their car broke down, and then, there's no answer, and the storm's picking up and they can't stay outside, and they're maybe wanting to get a phone, so maybe they break a window or something at that point, and just yell in, "Sorry, I need to use the phone." And this warrants circumstances. If it's a farm, the person breaking in is assuming, okay, this place might be abandoned. At which point, why would the phone work? Well, I guess you're just trying to get shelter from the storm. But the main point is you're yelling to make it clear to the person that you're not trying to be a threat. Then again, it depends on the context, the context of farmland. Whereas, say if you're in the middle of a city, why are they breaking into your house? What circumstances? What reason do they have for that? They need to be clear about that, or else there's no reason to assume that they're being genuine. It'd be imagine if, you walked up to somebody saying, "I come in peace," while brandishing a sword. What's happening? Well, this guy walked up to someone saying, "Can I borrow a cup of sugar?" and beat him to death with a hammer, all the while saying, "Can I borrow a cup of sugar?" Heck, I think Freyr in the anime did this sort of thing where, the demons would say, disarming statements, or they would say things that were meant to pull at people's heartstrings in order to make them less likely to really, fight back appropriate or take the appropriate responses. Heck, Fullmetal Alchemist did that. I think Envy pretended to be I can't remember who, Hugh or something. There was a friend of Roy Mustang's that was his best friend, but he was a very gentle, caring person, and so the Envy made his image look like his wife or his child or something, and so put him in a situation. So that's more so human psychology at that point. But I'm just saying, I'm like, imagine you had people running at you with like hatchets and stuff, but they're yelling, "We come in peace." At that point, and again, you're like, well, a person can adapt to that, yes, but the main point is the person's running at you. They don't need you to not be able to make a decision ever. Like, eventually you have time to think about it and rationalize, like, oh, right, they're just bullshitting me in order to get me to drop my guard. But the problem is, they don't need all that time that it would take you to rationalize it. They just need to catch you off guard. Those few seconds are precious. Yeah, reaction time is important. But main point is, if possible, you should avoid. But at the same time, and like if it's possible to use a less lethal option, that'd be good. But at the same time, it's up to you to decide what's appropriate. And if you feel a shotgun is the most necessary choice, then I don't blame you on that. Prioritizing your own safety and well-being should come first. That being said, there would also be certain limitations when it comes to, I don't know, logic. For example, say if someone's breaking into your house. Guns would make sense, but a bazooka would not. Because, one, it's a short range at that point. You're probably going to hurt yourself. The whole point of shooting the burglar is so that they don't hurt you. If you're using a weapon that's going to hurt you, or again, you're trying to protect your... Like, what's the point of yeah, you shoot a gun, you might put a few holes in your wall, or maybe blow out a window or something, but whatever. That can be fixed with a little drywall. But if you throw a fucking live grenade in your house, I feel like that's more of a danger to yourself, and it's going to destroy your own home. Like, you're not going to pull out a fucking flamethrower. Like, that's a danger to yourself. It's a danger to your house. So, like a bazooka is not a self-defense weapon. Like, I feel like there's certain limitations on that. Now, I mean, again, I feel like there's a line somewhere. Now, I would say like an AK-47, maybe not the best thing for home defense in terms of wieldiness, but I would say largely, I wouldn't fault somebody for having an AK-47 and using it for like a burglar comes in. But at the same time, like say if you live in an apartment complex, well, wouldn't certain calibers go through a wall and possibly endanger your neighbors? So, there's also the consideration of one, you don't want to hurt yourself, and you don't want to hurt one of your neighbors or somebody. So, just use common sense. But main point I'm saying is this. When it comes to guns, one, you should always hope to not have to use it. You should always be polite and courteous, and behave as if you don't have a gun or anything. And only use it if you have no other choice at all. Like, there's no fault in defending yourself. But if you can achieve the same goal of defending your life without resorting to the gun, you should do that. It should always be an absolute last resort. And it should always be something that you would do everything to avoid using, short of letting yourself be killed or seriously hurt or something. That being said, again, be mindful of the laws and policies of one, wherever you live, wherever you're at, and whether place you're at. Obviously, there are some parts of certain cities, or even certain places, like, for example, take a football stadium. Even though that's still, America, that is a public venue that has its own rules when it comes to that sort of stuff. So obviously you're not allowed to bring any kind of weapon at all. Now yes, there would be certain circumstances where people that would be criminals would violate those rules. But My main recommendation to everyone out there would be to follow the laws and rules of whatever society you're in. So if the country or state you're in says that guns are illegal, well, I would recommend moving to America so that you don't have to deal with that. But if that's not an option you would prefer to do, I would say, one, you should obey the laws of whatever country or state you're in. And again, some very heavily populated cities have their own separate restrictions as well, usually being more strict than, say, the general rule for that area. Like I'm pretty sure New York State, I'm pretty sure New York City has more strict rules about that stuff than, say, New York State. So any very heavily populated city will do that sort of thing. They'll have extra rules. So my main advice to anyone there is just to follow the law. You should obey the law. Whatever the law is, you should know what it is. And you should obey the law, and you should obey the policies of the place. There are certain places, say a courthouse or a public pool or something. A place like that, even though you might have concealed carry and you might be allowed to carry it in the rest of the city and state, there might be certain places where you cannot bring it. At which point, again, I would say, follow the rules. Obey the law. Obey the policy. Now, if you're going to some place and you still have concern that things could become aggressive, keep in mind most places that have the additional policies stating that you cannot bring a gun usually have security. So in that situation, say if you're at a football game or something, and somebody chooses to become violent toward you, well, the recommended course of action would be to get the attention of security so they could handle it. Beyond that, if you feel it's necessary to have the ability to defend yourself, then I would say, again, know the laws and policies and bring whatever ordinance is legally allowed. Usually pepper spray, stun guns, mace. Those are usually the main things. Aside from that, having some martial arts training is good, but at the same time, keep in mind, even if you're a fucking black belt, you're not fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme. Heck, I'll tell you this, I have a fucking punching bag, but I'm not a fighter. Not at all. Granted, I was in a lot of fights when I was younger, but those were usually 5v1, with me getting my fucking ass kicked. So, I'm pretty sure getting punched a few thousand times over the course of 40 minutes and slammed into a brick wall and getting your head stomped on and kicked in the ribs a lot with 5 people beating the fuck out of you, I'm pretty sure that doesn't count. Then again, that was 25 years ago in that particular situation. I was 13 years old. It sucked. Main point being, that sucks. That's not pleasant. And again, I would say in the situation where I did have to kill an intruder or something, my first course of action would be bash in their skull. If they're already dead, I'm going to bash in their skull afterward to make sure they don't become a zombie. Then, I will call the police and let them know, hey, there's a person here, and they broke in my house. So, after that, well, I assume I can talk to the police about maybe they have people that clean stuff up, so then maybe they can help that. So things would be because I don't like the blood or the germs and stuff. After all, I don't know what maybe the person say that thing. Another thing, blood is a dirty thing. One, it's dirty and gross to begin with, but also what if you shoot someone and they had syphilis and their blood sprays on you? Well, you could get syphilis from that. Heck, most paramedics bring mouth barriers so that when they do CPR, they don't get fucking herpes or whatever diseases from the people they're resuscitating. Same regard, if you take a gun and blow somebody's brains out, well, what if they had something infectious that would make you sick. And even then, it'd be kind of gross. Even if it doesn't have anything that's germ. Air quote. I did air quotes, but you guys couldn't see it because, it's just a voice. But I would also say in that situation that it would be a very good idea to, you would need a therapist. Now again, maybe some people would be better about that stuff. But in general, I think most people would need it. Me, I'd probably need, multiple. Because I feel like I would very much emotionally not cope well. Don't get me wrong. I would not want to do such a thing. But if push came to shove, I would certainly do such a thing if it was the only way to save my life. However, I would certainly feel bad afterward, and I would probably need a therapist. Again, the police would probably be able to give me recommendations. Heck, I would assume most police are also seeing therapists because they work a very dangerous job and they usually see a lot of very violent things. So I'd imagine anybody who's a beat cop or something, or any sort of police officer or FBI or military soldier or paramedic or firefighter, I'd imagine all of those people should already be seeing therapists themselves. I feel like even if you're just your average cop, I think given the job you do, especially if you're in a place that's seeing violence, I think such people in those professions, I think even if the rest of their life is super happy and cheerful, I think they need a therapist. Because that'd be a very... take paramedics. How often do... I'm sure a lot of paramedics have people that die before they even get to the hospital. And I wouldn't even say it's the paramedic's fault. I'd say I would say almost 100% of the people that die in this situation, it's not the paramedic's fault. But they probably still blame themselves on that. Oh, what if I drove a little faster? What if... But it's just... I think any of those people, heck, probably doctors and nurses, probably could use therapy. Or at least some additional benefit to their lives to offset the mental... I feel like it would be damaging to your mental health to be a police officer or a soldier. Because you're seeing a lot of violence, your own life is being put in danger. Heck, take a lot of soldiers out there. I'm not in the military, but I feel like anyone who's in the military, especially if you're active combat, I think you need a therapist. Now again, maybe there's people that are in the military that say they don't need such a thing. All I can say is this. I certainly don't have the personality for that kind of stuff. I would not be a good soldier or police officer. And I feel that if I was ever in such a circumstance, I would feel that I would need a therapist, and that I would think that even people that are far better than I am, it would be beneficial to them to have a therapist. So I'm just trying to say mental health is important. And there's nothing wrong with defending yourself, but it should always be the last resort. If you can avoid hurting anyone, if you can avoid violence, that's good. And yes, a lot of the characters in this game sometimes do kill some other people. Now, obviously, some of the situations are not justifiable in any way, shape, or form. Say, Shion, Mion, when they went do their stuff. Taking Satoko and putting her on a crucifix and stabbing her to death. Yeah, there's no possible justification for that. But with Keiichi and Teppei, or Rena with Teppei and Ritsuko, especially Ritsuko, that was more so self-defense. And even then, Ritsuko killed herself. Teppei, there's some premeditation there, and she did actually deliver the killing blow. But, given the circumstances, it'd be very understandable that it would seem to be the best and perhaps only course of action available to prevent Teppei from... Because eventually Teppei would have continued to be a problem, which would have led to a... And the big problem with that is this. If Teppei becomes a bigger problem in the future, Rena won't have the opportunity to catch him off guard. Meaning, what's she going to do? Just ignore Teppei breaking into her house and threatening her dad? and having this plan to do shit and just hope he just goes away. And especially know that in the future it'll get worse, he'll be more violent, and you will have nothing you can do. Whereas if you make that premeditated plan, you can take matters in your own hand and use the only opportunity you ever could have to get the jump on him, especially since Rena is at a large physical disadvantage, not against Ritsuko, but especially Teppei. Meaning, if Rena had not chosen to jump Teppei the way she did, then even if she planned and planned for the rest of time, there's literally nothing she could have ever done. It was literally her only option, aside from getting someone else to kill Teppei. And again, it'd be better if all the situation could be avoided, but at the end of the day, that's Teppei's fault for being a piece of shit. He is a skunk of a human being, so it's his fault. That being said, if Rena just told Shion and Kasai at the coffee shop, everything could have been avoided. And yeah, Teppei and Ritsuko would still be alive and they'd still be scamming other people. So hypothetically, other people are getting hurt. True. But the main point is that it was possible for Rena to resolve her situation without having to kill. But it was a very small window she had. And again, it's not like she was expecting it to become what it did. So even when it got to the premeditated part, it was still very reactionary. And for the most part, a situation where she was kind of backed into a corner, to where it was literally her only option. So, yeah, people could say, she has more blame because she used more strategy, but at the same time, given her circumstances, it was literally her only chance at victory. But if the violence could have been avoided completely to begin with, that would have been the better choice. But I certainly don't blame Rena in any circumstance. And I feel that Rena is blameless in this situation, and that even if it were to go to court, I think Rena should be given no punishment whatsoever, and also get a free therapist. That being said, while I don't think Rena should be blamed in any way, and I don't think she has done anything wrong up to this point, and I feel that everything Rena has done up to this point is justifiable, and that's not counting the fact that, the whole Hinamizawa sickness thing, where you have brain parasites, fucking with your brain, and worms in your brain fucking with your mind, and later on she's going to be more emotionally unstable, more dissociated, also hallucinating, basically severe schizophrenia. At which point, again, would perhaps I feel dissuade some blame from her if she does things that are unsavory against people that are not a threat. But at that point, if her mental faculties are compromised, then I feel that changes the circumstances. Doesn't make it good, but at least makes it where I don't think she can be blamed for those situations. If a person has severe paranoid schizophrenia and they're having issues with their brain, hallucinating, well, I think that's something to take into consideration. But again, more reason to get doctors involved. But then again, they probably make medications for that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, as of right now, I feel everything she's done has been justified, and I don't think Rena deserves any punishment whatsoever. However, I do feel that while she hasn't done anything morally wrong as far as I'm concerned, I still consider her blameless. I do, however, think that the things that she has done, while they were justified and pretty much necessary and unavoidable given her circumstances, so that she really had no other choice, I would, however, say that I would have concerns about how such a thing as what occurred with Teppei and Ritsuko would have a negative effect on her psychological health. Again, I'm not saying that she should be blamed for things, and I'm not saying that she should be insulted or punished in any way, but I am saying that there should be extra caution and concern when it comes to her well-being. Maybe kind of like also say, in the same regard, like say someone goes through the stuff she goes through, even if it didn't get to the point of killing anyone. Like say the situation with Ritsuko choking out Rena. Like let's say Detective OE, like the cop guy, let's say he showed up, saw what was happening, and like shot Ritsuko in the hip, and Ritsuko let go of Rena. And then, the detective arrested Ritsuko and put Ritsuko and Teppei in jail for their scam and attempted murder. In that situation, Rena would have literally done nothing aggressive or violent toward anyone, even in self-defense. But I would also still feel that, given those circumstances, that Rena would need therapy and would perhaps have some emotional distress from what has occurred. Not that she didn't already have a sufficient level of PTSD before ever meeting Rina-san to begin with. But you guys get what I'm trying to say. But it's not the only community we have. You mean friends? You're right. Do you think we're as good as a family to Rena? Rena does talk to Kiichi's parents quite often. Rena does cleaning, laundry, cooking, and shopping, so she must be tired every day. She can spend her afternoon taking naps. But she doesn't do that. She spends her afternoons playing with us. That means, how should I put it? That means we're her best friends. So you're saying we're friends with as much value as family to her? Mion looked stunned, as if she didn't understand what I was talking about. I didn't know what friends meant for you until today. But I believe friends are just as important as valuable as family. It's actually very easy to understand. Rika-chan joined our conversation. The important thing to have is to have people around whom you can feel comfortable. Agreed. I agree with that completely. Whether it's family, friends, or even a relationship, if you have like a romantic partner or something. Boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. It should be someone you feel comfortable around, someone you feel safe with, someone you can trust, someone you feel like actually cares about you. Someone who seems to enjoy being around you. But basically, it should be someone you feel comfortable with. Sometimes you can call them family, or sometimes you call them friends. It's just a matter of what the word you use. Are friends the same as family to you, Rika-chan? Yes, they are. I believe they are to Satoko, me, and Rena too. I guess that's why we always try to stay together. Do you ever feel lonely when you're with your friends? They're my family, so I'm not lonely. Mion nodded in agreement. Satoko was talking with her other classmates, but I'm sure she would nod as well. Rena would too. I'm a little embarrassed. Why? I've been using the word friends, but I don't think I understood its true meaning until today. Friends are more important and irreplaceable than I thought they were. Again, varying degrees. There are some people that you know that are just barely acquaintances. Other people are very, very close friends. And again, same thing with family. Some people are not close at all to any of their family members. Some are very close to a lot of them. And then, of course, there are some people that are not close at all to most of their family and then have a couple members of their family that they are extremely close to and value extraordinarily above others. Everyone's unique. That's like common sense. So you should take this opportunity to remember that. Yeah, I will. I also recommend that you don't say that again. Okay? Kei-chan, you just said something very embarrassing, you know. After all that, Mion still made fun of me. I think I understand a little better why Rena was always so serious about having fun. I want to be her best friend, and I want to do my best to be deserving of her effort. Z's. Rena snored. It sounded cute. Chie sensed let her sleep in class, but she couldn't get her away with snoring. Class president, wake her up, please. Rena, get up. What? Rena was still half asleep and made a strange noise. Everybody in the class laughed. Rena noticed they were laughing at her, woke up right away, and acted like she wasn't sleeping at all. It looked really funny, and I burst into a fit of laughter. Outside the window, the sky was blue, and the clouds were pure white. It was still June, but it looked like the middle of summer. This perfect weather wouldn't last forever. It could get cloudy and rain all of a sudden. That's why we had to play and raise a ruckus while we still had this perfect weather. The cries of the cicadas sound as if they're laughing at us because we still have some classes left. Ah, damn it. I can't wait for school to finish up. Kiichi-kun. You look very happy. Did something special happen today? Nothing. Today is today. Tomorrow is tomorrow, right? I don't know. I feel like we should give our friends more hugs. I also feel like Rena probably could use a hug. Yeah. I'm just happy that we have perfect weather today. But yeah, like I said, I do feel Satoshi has a very similar personality to me, and I also feel that Rena has a very similar personality to me. I feel that if you did a Dragon Ball Z fusion of Rena and Satoshi, you would get my personality. I don't care about the weather tomorrow. I want to enjoy today as much as I can. When the weather changes, I don't want to regret that I didn't. I learned that from Rena. I learned that peaceful days are the happiest days you can have, and that they're irreplaceable. Mion, what are you doing for club activities today? We need something very exciting for punishment too. That's right. That's the spirit I like, Kei-chan. Because you insist, I'll put you through a living hell. Keiichi-kun, don't provoke her too much. Hey, are you scared, Rena? I know you're better than that. Let's show her our true power again. Remember, we haven't brought an end to our last battle. I grinned at her and she grinned back. I do remember that. It was the day before I killed a couple people. Okay, let's do it then. Rena-san, you certainly got me last time. For that, I must pay you back with interest. This is getting very interesting. It's going to be a blast, hehehe. I can't wait for school to finish. I couldn't wait either, but that time we spend just talking together is also very precious. Yeah, it would be nice if school ended soon. New tips, my favorite wine. Collateral, find an easy solution to a big problem. My favorite wine. Satoko went to join the children playing in the schoolyard. Since I didn't feel like going, I decided to stay at home. Most likely, she wouldn't be back until evening. When Satoko wasn't around, I had always had ways of spending time without her. Besides, that was what I wanted to do anyway. I stuck my hand deep inside the pile of winter futons in the closet and pulled one out. Next, I filled a stylish-looking glass with ice. The ice made in the freezer smelled of chlorine, though, and didn't taste good. Store-bought ice would be the best, but since Sato kept asking me what I was using it for, I stopped buying it. But it might be worth spending time to think about a good excuse for that if it meant I would be able to enjoy ice without ever having to smell the chlorine. I filled the glass with mineral water. and then poured a little bit of another liquid into the glass. Watching the color mix into the transparent water was a very pleasant thing. This wasn't the right way to drink it, but I liked it that way and didn't want to hear any complaints. My body is very convenient because I can get drunk with only a tiny amount. That's why I dilute the small amount with a full glass of water, and thanks to that I could enjoy a single bottle for a long time. It wasn't bad if you thought about it like that. I put a cushion on my favorite spot by the window, and with the glass in one hand I enjoyed the familiar view and the soft wind brushing through my hair. Yes, this is Rika Frude, casually enjoying a glass of wine and getting drunk. A slightly sweet, ripened aroma tickled my nose. And just when I was about to start enjoying the atmosphere, the annoying one came back. She didn't like this bad habit of mine, and she complained every time I tilted the glass. She started nagging me noisily. Shut up. Be a little more tolerant. I can drink and eat whatever I want. Yet you can't. Kids aren't supposed to drink alcohol. I tried to ignore her, but she started making a fuss as if trying to ruin the atmosphere on purpose. Okay, so we have Rika Frude here, talking to her imaginary friend, Hallucination. Granted, I know the actual true situation of this, but I'm trying not to spoil the story. Then again, who doesn't know the story of this? I'm tempted, like, whether I'm gonna spoil the story. Like, everyone should know the story. What's a better way to put it? That it's Rika, and she's just a little kid, and, you know, she's getting drunk. And she also has schizophrenia, and she's talking to people that don't exist. Or that she's actually 1,000 years old, and she's been looping through lifetime after lifetime of watching all of her friends get murdered viciously. And she's trying to find some way to make a peaceful solution so the time loop can stop. Also, the person that is talking to her, that she's also seeing, is not an hallucination. It is Oyashiro-sama, who is actually real. Also, Oyashiro-sama is just a cute anime girl. So Oyashiro-sama is a woman. And she's usually also young, but also thousands of years old, before Rika was even born. There was no way I could enjoy getting drunk like this. I glared at her and threw the drink out the window. Do you want to know why I'm depressed? I'm depressed because the way I die has been decided. It seemed like she finally understood why I wanted to drown myself in alcohol. You don't have to feel down. I get to die instantly. So, it's not that scary. My body will be burned and cut in pieces, but I'll be able to die instantly. Wait, are we talking to Oyashiro-sama? Or are we talking to, I can't remember her name. Takano? Mio? Mio Takano? But not yet. I know. Not yet. When am I gonna die again? I think it's the night of the 25th of June. It's about a week after the Watanagashi festival. Well, that sounds reasonable. Is it my fault? Of course it is. Are you serious? Ah ha ha. She was the one who asked me. Yet she cried when I told her she was right. Ah, jeez. She was always so annoying. Let's keep trying. I'm sure I'll get 6 in a row on the next board game. June 25th. I still had 10 more days. I was going to relax and enjoy those 10 days. I still had some wine left, too. Continue. It had been very hot for the past few days, and the corpses went rotten quickly. Any housewife knows how fast fresh meat can go bad. I know it too. That's why the first thing I did was to dismember the corpses. There was only one reason why I needed to dismember them. I had to reduce them to a portable size in order to carry them to a place where they'll never be found. When men see the words dismembered corpses, they'll probably feel disgusted, because they don't cook. But housewives are used to taking the guts out of fish, and they sometimes even see living maggots. They take the maggots off the food, or even cook it with the maggots still on. The heat will kill them, after all. Women don't tell the men what they do in the kitchen, because men wouldn't eat the food if they knew. So it didn't really bother me much to dismember them. I was released from all my problems by killing them. Cleaning up the mess was like nothing to me, because I got freedom and regained my happiness. I dismembered the corpses using carpenter's tools, like I saw on a hatchet. And then as I'm sawing them apart, Keiichi and Mion just peek over the corner like, wait, what? I'm wearing a black sweatsuit I bought for today because I thought I might get stained with blood. Blood stains don't show on the black fabric, and I can just throw it away after it's done. I brought a plastic sheet I found in the dump because I thought the blood might spread otherwise. If I did the work on this sheet, I could just burn it after I was done. In the end, dismembering human bodies is no different than preparing food on a chopping board. I was very tired from chopping apart 2 adult bodies, but I didn't have a problem doing it. I cut off their arms, legs, and head, dividing each body into 6 pieces. I heard before that blades get easily ruined by fat when you cut apart a corpse, so I brought many kinds of tools. And I was right, I didn't have to go back and forth between here and my house to get another tool in the middle of work. A long time ago, the construction manager was murdered and his body was dismembered here during the dam conflict. He was cut into 6 pieces the same way. Well, I had 2 bodies, so there was double that, though. I remember the main suspect was still on the loose, and the victim's arm he had hid hadn't been found yet. I wonder where he hid it. I'd like to ask him, I smiled wryly. Unlike the arms, legs, and heads, the torsos were difficult to take care of. I thought about cutting them into smaller pieces, but I decided against it because I thought it'd be troublesome to clean up the guts. I put each piece in a black trash bag and sprayed on a lot of deodorant. I wasn't sure if that would help against the smell, though. Many bugs flew around me while I was dismembering the corpses. After I finished putting all the pieces into each bag, the bugs were still flying around, but that was just because they could smell the blood. After I cleaned up everything, they were all gone. Now, all I need to do is get rid of these 12 black bags. Burning them would be the easiest, but I don't think I can burn them to ashes without using a cremator. Cremator? The best way is to bury them somewhere. Other than the torsos, every piece is small enough to fit in my backpack. I could easily carry them without being noticed. I could throw them into the river running through the dam construction site, but if I did that, someone would find them for sure. I've seen on the news several times before that a bag with a body part in it found beside a river. Every time I heard something like that, I always thought the murderer was stupid. I thought about dumping them in Onokafushi Swamp, but rotten meat floats. I thought about weighing the bags, but there's no guarantee they'd stay down. So that left me with one choice, to bury them. There are many unexplored mountains at the end of the abandoned districts around Yaguichi and Takatsuro. It's probably best to bury them somewhere in the mountains. While it would be safe to bury them here in the garbage dump too, it's not perfectly safe, and so I'm going to bury all these bags somewhere deep inside of a mountain in order to completely erase the 2 of them. My joints hurt since I've been using muscles I don't normally use. I cleaned up the mess very carefully and got into my hideout while I was still wearing the sweatsuit. I laid down on the mattress. I washed my hands carefully, but there was still dirt and blood under my nails. I should take a shower later and wash it off completely. When I say things like disposing of corpses, it sounds like I'm the greatest evil in the century, but that's only true if I get caught. What I did isn't a crime as long as I don't get caught. Plus, I didn't do this because I wanted to commit a crime. I didn't do anything wrong. I did this to protect my father's life and mine. People might speak ill of me, but I don't care about them. In the end, I don't think anyone can really pass judgment on my sins. Sins aren't something to pass judgment on. They're something to confess to and atoned for. In other words, nobody can measure the weight of a sin other than the person who committed the crime. Do I regret what I did? Do I feel sorry? No. I don't think I did anything wrong. I don't think you did either. But I do worry about how it affects you as an emotional level. I feel like there's mental instability that could be caused from it. I truly believe there was no better way than killing them. I'm sure it was the right thing because my life had already started to change since the night I killed them. That's the Henami-Zawa syndrome kicking in and giving you more adrenaline. A few days earlier, I just came home after killing Teppei. My father was cleaning the room Teppei had thrashed earlier. His eyes were swollen. He had been crying. "Rina, where have you been?" I was talking with him. I said Rina-san will never come to our house again, so please leave us alone. Therefore, he'll never come back. I don't think he'll stay away from us that easily. You should watch out for him for a while, too. It's hard to explain to him why Teppei would never come back. I can't tell him he shouldn't worry because I killed him. I grabbed ice cubes from the freezer and put them in a plastic bag and handed it to my father. Well, it's nice of you, Rena. Thank you. Here you go, Dad. Your cheeks are swollen. He must have only noticed it just then. Oh, thank you. Don't worry about cleaning up the mess. I'll do it. I'll get the vacuum cleaner. Rina? He called out to me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. They make their living by deceiving people. You were just one of their targets. Rina, did you know who they were? Yes, I found out recently. I didn't tell you because I thought you wouldn't believe me. I'm sorry. He looked down. Technically, didn't we tell him the day before Teppei? And he looked down. When he told me about how he wanted to get remarried, I told him that they were bad people and that they scammed others with badger games. But he didn't listen to me. So I was right in saying that he wouldn't have believed me at all. She took advantage of your pain. I'm a very bad father. Then he started talking about how he met Rina, as if trying to absolve his guilt. My ear hurts. Ow. It was when he was suffering the most, and he needed to drink away his sorrow. At a bar he happened to go into, Rina-san was the one who came to his table. It was her job to be a good listener when her customers talked. Rina must really have been a great listener and offered words of comfort when he talked about the divorce. If he was emotionally stable, he could have taken it as kindness that she was only offering at the time, but he was so desperate that he took it the wrong way. I'm pretty sure Rina meant that too. After that, the tragedy was inevitable. He wanted to believe that it was destiny, and he glamorized everything about her. It would be easy to laugh at him and say that he was just dreaming, but I don't blame him. Because being weak is also part of being human. He had plenty of opportunities to grow suspicious of her questionable spending habits, but my father just read even that behavior as an attempt to cheer him up. He bought everything she asked him to, and Rina had landed her catch. He shouldn't have brought his lover to the house where his daughter lived, but he was crazy about her and he didn't even think about it. I had forgotten that I was a father first. What was I thinking? He started crying. I held his shoulders gently. It's okay. You realized it in the end. You're my father no matter what. You're the only family I have. He couldn't stop moaning. We held each other and cried together. The next day, my father got up early in the morning. He was already cooking breakfast when I got up, and he told me, "Your father is going to get his act together from today onward." "Ah, Dad, you should have used salad oil before you cooked them sunny side up." "Huh?" It's been a long time since I cooked. He pried off the burning eggs in the pan with a spatula, and he added salad oil to it. It was too late. Doing that just made it an even bigger mess. But I didn't say anything because I wanted to eat his eggs. I waited at the table quietly. He put the burned eggs on a plate and brought them over to me. It looked like he tried to salvage them by adding cheese, but it didn't really work. Still, it smelled good and crispy and actually stimulated my appetite. Thick-cut toast popped out of the toaster. You guys had toasters in 1983? I made coffee with extra milk and sugar because my father liked it sweet. We put everything on the table. It looked terrible, like the cooking class in elementary school. But to me, it was precious because my father tried very hard to make it, wearing the apron. Great. It smells good. I hope it tastes as good as it smells. It might be better that you do the cooking. I feel bad making you eat this. I'll take care of the cooking when you take care of getting a job. It had been a taboo to talk about work in our house. He hadn't worked since the divorce. It wasn't only because of the divorce, though. He just didn't have to work because the settlement my mother gave him was so huge. Plus, I let him be lazy because I felt guilty about the divorce. But my father cleared his wrongdoing by showing my repentance to me. And I also atoned for my sin of not doing anything about my mother by doing what I did the previous night. Now we are free of sin. I'm going to try to find a job. I'm thinking about going to the employment service agency today. Yeah, that's a great idea. It's not money that he wanted. He just needed a normal lifestyle. I'm old and not very strong. I'm a little bit worried if I can't find a job at all. What kind of job are you looking for? I'd prefer a desk job, but I don't think a lot of companies would offer one to an old man like me. I can ask if my friend Mi-chan is the daughter of the big landowner in Hinamizawa, so she might be able to find you something. No, it's okay. I'll do it myself. I have to man up, you know? I don't remember the last time we enjoyed breakfast like this. I don't even remember the last time we had breakfast together. For the first time in a long time, my morning light felt refreshed. I wanted to keep enjoying life like this, but unfortunately I had to go to school. I told him that I'd skip school today, and that I wanted him to take me somewhere fun, but he tried to be a good father and said that I had to go to school. Well, I have to go now. Okay, have a good day at school. He followed me to the front door, and I was a bit embarrassed for some reason. He talked to me while I was tying my shoes. He followed me here not because he wanted to see me off, but because he wanted to tell me something. I've been sad ever since your mother divorced me, but I realized that I shouldn't be sad because I have you, Rena. I didn't have to feel sad at all. Dad, that's what being a family is about. Yes, you're right. Again, I'm not a good father because I had to learn something that simple and important from my own daughter. Well, I have to go now. Keiichi-kun is waiting for me. Have a good day. Oh, Rina, I'm going to cook dinner tonight. I'll do the grocery shopping on the way back from the employment service agency. Look forward to it. I promise I won't feel like I did just now. Haha, okay. I'm looking forward to it. See you tonight. I left the house and my father saw me off. Still in the apron, it was the first step of our new life. I finally regained it. I finally regained everything we lost after we left Hinamizawa. My mother wasn't around, but I didn't feel sad because I had my father. The cries of the cicadas sounded as if they were celebrating my new life. The sunshine was bright and the wind was sending up a nice breeze. The only thing that wasn't nice was the ticking clock. I was late because I spent too much time talking with my father. Keiichi-kun might already be gone. I don't think he'd be waiting for me that long. But he was there anyway. Hey! Good morning! Good morning! Sorry I'm late. It's okay. I usually make you wait. So it's okay that I wait once in a while. Wahaha! We're really going to be late. We should walk fast, I think. Yeah. Let's walk fast. We might have to run at the end. Mi-chan might already be gone. She's waiting for sure. We're friends. We'd never leave each other behind, right? Anyway, did something good happen this morning? What? Why do you ask that? Well, you look very happy for some reason. I just thought maybe something good happened to you. The good mood I was in must have been too obvious for Keiichi-kun to ignore. I had not only my family, but my friends, too. I felt something warm spreading in my heart. Well, I'll tell you what happened this morning. My father made breakfast, but what, isn't that the right way to cook eggs? You use salad oil for making salads, don't you? What? I have to tell everyone you just said that. Okay, maybe it's just an American thing here, but here in America, you either use, butter or bacon grease. You either put butter in the pan and you cook the eggs on the butter, or you cook bacon first, and then after you put the bacon out of the pan, you then cook the eggs in the bacon grease. Those rude remarks are unforgivable. Fine, bring it. If you're saying that, then you're willing and ready to throw down, aren't you? Hey, what's going on? Satoko, Kei-chan, why don't you two place an outside bet on our club activities today? It'll be fun. Mi-chan, what's an outside bet? What is it? An outside bet means what it says, that Satoko and I would place a bet on each other outside the game. The one who played worse than the other has to suffer an extra punishment beside the norm one. That means I get to see one of you suffer no matter who loses today. Are you just cheerful because you got to drink your wine? Rika, drinking wine and talking to God. Lolly God. So, what do you say, Satoko? That sounds like a wonderful idea to me. Keiichi-san will take the punishment for being lowest ranked in the game, and another punishment for losing to me. How wonderful. Great, I like your spirit, Satoko. Alright, let's play today's game with their outside bet. It's more fun to think about the punishments than to think about the game itself. It sure is. I can't wait to see how miserable Satoko is going to look after she takes her punishment. Keep dreaming, Keiichi-san. Ouch! Take that. Stop it. Yeah. Stop fighting, you two. The game hasn't even started yet. Chie-sensei opened the door and came in. Take your seats, everyone. Let's start homeroom and then you can all go home. Everybody head to their seats. Mi-chan. What? I'm sorry to ruin the mood, but I have to go home after school. I have things to do again today. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry that you have to go. Are you busy with housework or something? Yep. It's a lot of work dismembering corpses. Technically still housework, right? Well, this old man has no right to stop you when it comes to housework. I don't do housework myself, our housekeepers do. You should help them sometimes. It'll be good training for married life. Don't worry about that. I already have the kind of skill, to be a good wife. Hehehe. Mi-chan looks like the kind of girl who tries to stay away from chores as much as possible, but she can actually do everything. That's just who she is. She went through hard times to learn these things, but she acts like she learned them without any struggle. That's also who she is. I like that about her. What? Are you going home, Rena? Then you won't see Keiichi-san go to the teacher's office wearing an embarrassing uniform. What a shame. It's going to be fun. Pity you have to miss it. Yeah, I'm sorry. You went home right after school for housework yesterday, too. Did something happen? Yeah, kind of. It might take me a few more days. Well, then I guess you can't join us for a while. Maybe. I'll try to finish as soon as I can. Can we help out with the thing you have to do? If it's something like carrying out old furniture, let me know. I can help with that. Are you redecorating your house? This old man can bring lots of help for that. Oh ho ho. I have an idea. We can make a game out of helping her with her housework. At this rate, the person who doesn't end up helping her will be the winner. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. Well, it seems like there's nothing we can do. Therefore, I announce Rena Ryugu's withdrawal from the front lines as of today. Order you take a rest until you finish doing your housework and return to the front as soon as you regain your strength, soldier. Well, there are many games for 4. Oh, can you play Mahjong, Kei-chan? Yeah, my dad sometimes forces me to play Mahjong with him and his friends from work. Oh. Of course, we are good at Mahjong as well. After that, they fooled around and made a lot of noise, just like they always did. I looked at them and reminded myself that I'd always have a place to return to. I left the classroom with a smile. I was going to Yaguchi on my bicycle. I had to find a place to bury the bugs with the body parts. Hopefully I could finish burying all of them today before it gets dark. With that, everything would be over and done with. I don't like that the back of the tiles are made of bamboo. You guys haven't marked them, have you? I wouldn't be too sure. Cage-san, you sound traumatized by the experience you had with our card game. Well, I think there are some scratches on them. They're cheap ones, you know. But it's more fun when there is an element of doubt, don't you think? Hehehe. My ear is itchy. Me, how many reds do you want to use? 6? Rika-chan sounded professional, and it scared me. Oh well, I should start by checking the tiles. Playing mahjong with my family is different from playing as a club activity. I have to be cautious. It's possible that one tile is missing, or that there's one extra of a particular tile in here. We don't do things like that. Still, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Let's see. Let's put them all face up on the table and check them before we start the game. Come on. Everybody flip the tiles face up. Huh? One dragon is missing. One low pin and one low so are missing too. Oh, one low won is missing also. What's going on? There are so many missing tiles. Oh! I remember. Hold on a second. Mian hit the palm of her hand with her fist, moved her chair aside, and stuck her fingers into a gap in the floorboards. She then pulled a tile out of there. There you go, this is the dragon. I don't remember where I put the other 3. Wait, Mian, why are there so many tiles hidden in the classroom? Yeah, well, you know, she must have hidden the other 3 tiles somewhere in the classroom and forgot where. We couldn't play mahjong with 3 tiles missing. I suggested playing another game, but Mian insisted that we had to find them, and suggested making that treasure hunt our game. As long as I can make Kiichi-san suffer a punishment, I care little as to what kind of game we play. But, to be honest with you, I'd prefer to play something more interesting than that. I agree. Plus, you're not sure they are here in the classroom, right, Mian? No, they're here. Or maybe this old man might have put them in his pockets and left them by the washing machine. I don't remember. I recommend checking the total number of tiles after we play mahjong with me next time. Everybody except Mian nodded in agreement. What? You don't want to play our classroom tile hunting game? In other words, cleaning up the mess Mian made so she could cheat. Do it yourself. Don't use our club activities for personal reasons. Fine, fine. So what do you want to do? We can't play mahjong now. I'm trying to remember. Shoujo? Shogo? The Japanese version of chess. Shogi. It's called shogi. Does anybody have any ideas? As our club president, Mian usually decides what we'll play. I couldn't just come up with something on the spot. While we were all thinking, Mian hit her palm of her fist, just like she did earlier. I got an idea. If you don't want to hunt for tiles, let's do a real treasure hunt. What name comes to your mind when I say treasure hunting? Rena, right? You mean, are we going to the garbage dump at the damn construction site? We're going to find something for Rena as a surprise. Rena will never expect that. Rena will be so surprised. I don't really go there often, but the place is large. I have heard that the place is haunted by the ghosts of the man who was murdered there. His body was cut into pieces. We shouldn't go near, especially since he's got company. Heck, one more, and he can play mahjong himself. Again, I like the music. The music's still happy and upbeat, but it's obviously changed the atmosphere a little bit to be a little tense because, you know, obviously as the reader, you're like, wait a minute, There's a reason they shouldn't go to the damn construction site. There are rotting bags full of flesh there that Rena would not like her friends to find. Ha 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 ha, ghost, I like it. That's even better. I didn't know there was a rumor like that. I do know that someone was murdered there, and that the main suspect is still on the loose. He hid the arm of the victim, and it hasn't been found yet, right? There's a rumor that the construction site manager, the victim of the dismemberment murder case, became a ghost, and that he's wandering around the place to find his missing arm. Rika? You don't like ghosts. Don't tell me you're still scared of ghosts. I'm a shrine maiden. I can see them even if I don't want to. Wow, you can see ghosts? Yep. If I'm right, I've heard those who can see spirits see them as naturally as they do us. Rika does drink alcohol to deal with the ghosts that she sees. That's utterly ridiculous. I've been living with Rika for a long time, but I've never seen anything like that. That's just because you can't see them, but I can. For example, when you're asleep in your bed, I always see Nipa. Rika, why did you smile like that? What were you about to say? What do you see when I'm sleeping? Oh yeah, Shira-sama cuddles you. She sleeps in your bed and hugs you. Sachiko, I feel sorry for you. You can pretend you're not scared of ghosts during the day, but I'm pretty sure you can get scared when it gets dark. I'm going to take a silent phone call tonight just to scare the hell out of her. Hee hee hee. Including myself, I don't think anybody really likes going there. Rena is the only one who does. If Rena finds a ghost when she's in her cute mode, she might take it home with her. Or make a ghost herself. That's so true. She'd say, "How I'm taking you home with me." Wahaha. It was so easy to imagine that all of us laughed. Well, let's do it. Let's go treasure hunting. If you find a ghost, you win. You get a point if you find the victim's missing right arm. I mean, with the fact that we have multiple full sets, are we going to assemble Exodia? But of dead people? Everyone's like, that's a bit morbid, Lunar. Is it morbid if you can imagine it in anime form? You also get a point if you find anything that Rena would like. We can show what we found to Rena later, and we'll let her decide who's the winner. Oh, I can't wait to win the game and make Keiichi-san take double the punishment. Hey, Santiago, are you sure you want to win? That means you're going to see a ghost. Woo! So stop it! You're getting on my nerves. I don't want to go there. I'm scared of ghosts too. What do you mean you're scared of ghosts too? On the side note, does that mean Rika's going to get to see Teppei and Ritsuko? Also, will the ghosts be, mangled from the injuries of death? Or even, will the ghosts be damaged from the dismemberment? Are we talking like the Doctor Who thing? Who else are you referring to? I'm not scared at all. Hey, Keiichi-san, stop doing that. Let's go, everybody. Let's find the ghost. Woo! And it'll be over with. Everything will be over and done with. Yes, it will be over when the Higurashi cry. So that's it. Later, guys.